प्रथम क्लास भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो ओम भगवते वासुदेवाय नमो ओम भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं तत जयम् उदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Hare Krishna. Today we start new chapter, conversation between Nārada and Vyāsadeva. Shloka number 1 to 4. We try to understand. Chapter 6, conversation between Nārada and Vyāsadeva. Sutah uvacha
सूतः उवाच
evam nishamya bhagavan
एवं निशम्य भगवान्
devarshehe jalma karma cha
देवर्षेः जन्म कर्म च
bhuyah paprachatam brahman
भूय प्रपृच्छतं ब्रह्मन्
व्यास सत्यवती सुतः.
व्यासः सत्यवती सुतः
व्यासः उवाच
व्यासः उवाच
भिक्षुभिः विप्रवसिते
भिक्षुभिः विप्रवसीते
विज्ञान आदेष्टुभिः तव
विज्ञान आदेष्टभिः तव
वर्तमान वयसि आदे
वर्तमानः वयसि आद्ये
ततः किम अकरोत् भवान्
ततः किम् अकरोत् भवान्
स्वयंभुव कया वृत्त्या
स्वायंभुव कया वृत्त्या
वर्तितं ते परं वयः
वर्तितं ते परं वयः
कथं चेत् अमुत साक्षिः
कथं च एत अमुद साक्षिः
उद उदस्राक्षिः काले प्राप्ते कलेवरम्
काले प्राप्ते कलेवरम्
प्राक् कल्प विषयाम् एताम्
काल्पकल्प वृषयानेताम्
स्मृतिं ते मनुसत्तम
स्मृतिं ते मुनिसत्तमः
न हि एष व्यवधात् काल
न हि एष व्यवधात काल
एष सर्वनिरङ्कृतिः.
एष सर्वनिराकृतिः
सूत उवाच
सूत उवाच
एवं निशमे भगवान्
एवं निशम्य भगवान्
देवर्षे जन्म कर्म च
देवर्षेः जन्म कर्म च
भूय पप्रच्छतं ब्रह्मन्
भूय पप्रच्छतं ब्रह्मन्
व्यास सत्यवती सुतः.
व्यास सत्यवती सुतः
व्यास उवाच
व्यास उवाच
भिक्षुभिः विप्रवसिते
भिक्षुभिः विप्रवसीते
विज्ञानात् इष्टभिः तव
विज्ञानात् एष्ट्रभिः तव
वर्तमान वयसि आद्ये
वर्तमानः वयसि आद्ये
ततः किम् अकरोत् भवान्
ततः किम् अकरोत् भवान्
स्वयंभुव कया वृत्त्या
स्वायंभुव कया वृत्त्या
वर्तितं ते परं वयः
वर्तितं ते परं वयः
कथं चेत् उदस्राक्षिः
कथं च एत उदस्राक्षिः
काले प्राप्ते कलेवर
काले प्राप्ते पर कलेवरम्
प्राक् कल्प विषयाम् एताम्
काल्प प्राकल्प विषयाम् एतान्
स्मृतिं ते मनुसत्तम
स्मृतिं ते मुनिसत्तम
हि एष व्यवधात कालः
न हि एष व्यवधात कालः
एष सर्वनिराकृतिः.
एषः सर्वनिराकृतिः सूतः उवाच एवं निशम्य भगवान् देवर्षे जन्म कर्म च भूय पप्रच्छतं ब्रह्मन् व्यासः सत्यवती सुतः व्यास उवाच विमुक्षिभिः विप्रवसीते विज्ञान आदृष्टभिः तव वर्तमानः वयस आद्ये ततः किम् अकरोत् भवान् स्वयंभुव कया वृत्त्या वर्तितं ते परं वयः कथं च इदम् उदस्राक्षि काले प्राप्ते कलेवरम् प्राकल्प विषयामेतान् स्मृतिं ते मुनिसत्तम न हि एष व्यवधात काल एष सर्वनिराकृतिः. श्रीधर प्रभु जी. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you can read. Ashish Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Evam nishamya bhagavan devarshe janma karma cha bhuya pratyattam brahmahan vyasa satyavati sutaha vyasa uvacha bhikshubhir vipravasite vijnana teshtubhis sadavaha vartamano vayasi atyota kim agarod bhavan स्वयं भुव गया वृद्धा वर्तहीम दे परम वयः गदम चेदम उदश्राशि काले प्राप्तये कलेवरम प्राक्कल्प विषयां येतां संवृति ते मुनिसत्तमः न हि येष व्यवदात् काल येष सर्व निराकृतिः। हरे
पूनम
कृष्ण।
माता जी। आशीष प्रभु जी।
हरे कृष्ण प्रभु जी।
यस माता जी। यस माता जी, प्लीज रीड। हरे कृष्णा, प्लीज रीड। हरे कृष्णा, पूनम माता जी।
हरे कृष्ण।
प्लीज
हाँ
रीड।
हाँ प्रभु जी, यस आई एम गोइंग टू रीड। सुत उवाच एवं निशमय भगवान देवर्षे जन्म कर्म च भूया पप्रच्छ तं ब्रह्मन् व्यास सत्यवती सुतः। व्यास उवाच भिक्षुर्भि विप्र वसिते विज्ञान आद्रेष्टभिः तवाः वर्तमानो व्यस्य आदे ततः किम अकरोद भवान् स्वयंभुव कया वृत्त्या वर्तितं ते परम वया कथम चेदम साक्षी काले प्राप्ते कलेवरम प्राक कल्प विषयामेतां स्मृतिं ते मुनि सतम नाहि एष व्याधत काल एष सर्व निराकृतिः।
आशीष प्रभु जी।
सूत उवाच एवं निशाम्य भगवान् देवर्षे जन्म कर्म च भूय प्रपच्य तं ब्रह्मन् व्यासा सत्यवती सूतः। व्यास उवाच भिक्षुभिर्विप्रवसिते विज्ञानादेस्त्रिभिस्तव वर्तमानो वयसि आदेय ततः किम अकरोत् भवान् स्वयंभुवा कया वृत्त्या वर्तितां ते परं वया कथं चेदम् उदरसाक्षी कले प्रप्ते कलेवरम् प्राक्कल्प विषयम् एतं स्मृतिं ते मुनि सत्तमा न हि एष व्याधात् कला एष सर्व निराकृतिः।
हरे कृष्ण।
सूत उवाच एवं निशम्य भगवान् देवर्षे जन्म कर्म च भूय पप्रच्छ तं ब्रह्मन् व्यास सत्यवती सुत। व्यास उवाच भिक्षुभिः विप्रवसिते विज्ञान आदेष्टृभिः तव वर्तमान वयसि आद्ये ततः किम् अकरोत् भवान् स्वयंभुव कया वृत्त्या वर्तितं ते परं वयः कथं च इदम् उदस्राक्षिः काले प्राप्ते कलेवरम् प्राक कल्प विषयाम् एतां स्मृतिं ते मुनि सत्तम हि न हि एष व्यवधात कालः एष सर्व निराकृति। Translation and purport by the Srila Prabhupada. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Suta said, O Brahmanas, the sharing all about Sri Nārada's birth and activities. Vyāsadeva, the incarnation of God and son of Satyavati, inquired as follows. Sri Vyāsadeva said, what did you, Nārada, do after the departure of the great sages who had instructed you in scientific transcendental knowledge before the beginning of your present birth? O son of Brahma, how did you pass your life after initiation, and how did you attain this body, having quit your old one in due course? O great sage, time annihilates everything in due course. So, how is it that this subject matter, which happened prior to this day of Brahma, is still fresh in your memory, undisturbed by time? Purport by the Srila Prabhupada, Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vyāsadeva was further inquisitive to know about the perfection of Nāradajī, and therefore he wanted to know about him more and more. In this chapter, Nāradajī will describe how he was able to have a brief audience with the Lord while he was absorbed in the transcendental thought of separation from the Lord, and when it was very painful for him. Vyāsadeva himself was the disciple of Nāradajī, and therefore it was natural to be anxious to hear what Nārada did after initiation from the spiritual masters. He wanted to follow the Nārada's footsteps in order to attain to the same perfect stage of life. This desire to inquire from the spiritual master is an essential factor to the progressive path. This process is technically known as sad-dharma-pṛcchā.
sad-dharma-pṛcchā.
Sri Nārada Muni, in his previous life, was just an ordinary maidservant son. So, how he became so perfectly transformed into the spiritual body of eternal life, bliss, and knowledge is certainly important. Sri Vyāsadeva desired him to disclose the facts for everyone's satisfaction, as spirit is not annihilated even after the annihilation of the material body. So also spiritual consciousness is not annihilated. Sri Nārada developed this spiritual consciousness even when he had his material body in the previous kalpa. Consciousness of the material body means spiritual consciousness expressed through the medium of a material body. This consciousness is inferior, destructible, and perverted, but super consciousness of the supramind in the spiritual plane is as good as the spiritual soul and as never annihilated.
Om Ajnana
शान्तिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य
Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Ena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamlam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vyāsadeva Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we have seen how Nāradajī explained everything about his previous birth, how he was just a menial servant, and how by sincere service to the Parivrajakacharyas for only 4 months, he could get their mercy, the special mercy. And because of that special mercy, how he developed the longing for Krishna. How he got the initiation from the Parivrajakacharyas, and how his life became so successful that in the current birth, he has become Nārada. So after hearing all these things, Vyāsadeva ji who was sad and who was just waiting, what should he be doing, who was dissatisfied. Narada had actually told him what has to be done. So after listening to it, it was but obvious that his jigyasa, inquisitiveness, he increased. He had heard about Narada's birth and activities. And so he wanted to hear more because he could see a drastic change in Narada. He wanted to know how did he achieve the perfection. And considering that, there was always an opportunity that he can follow the same path. And that is where this chapter begins. Wherein, on inquiries by Vyāsadeva, Nāradajī will explain further how, because of his sincere service, he was able to get a brief audience with Krishna himself. Because he was completely absorbed in the mood of separation from the Lord. And that was very, very painful for him. And it is at that point that he could get an opportunity to meet Lord. So this pastime is getting started from today onwards. And that is why Vyāsadeva starts his inquisitiveness. The very first thing which comes is, after the Parivrajakacharyas left, the departure of the great sages, what did Nāradajī do? Because the great sages had instructed him in transcendental knowledge, not only simple, but vijnana, scientific knowledge in transcendence. And that was in the previous birth. So how is it that that knowledge is related to this present birth? Now, if you are a disciple, then you would like to know more and more about our spiritual master. And Vyāsadeva was disciple of Nāradajī. It was natural that he was anxious to hear more what Narada did after the initiation, because he wanted to follow in Narada's footsteps so that he could attain the same perfect stage of life. And this is something which is a very, very important aspect for us to learn and implement in our life as well. We have to be anu. We have to be followers. Like, generally it is said that we are all Rupanugas. So what does it mean? That we are following the footsteps of Srila Rupa Goswami, who was given instructions and knowledge directly by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he delved into all the literature, brought in the best of the gems, and got all the literature appropriately placed. And not only that, they are also together found the places of the various leelas of Lord Krishna when he had appeared here in this material. And that is why Rupa Goswami Ji has a very, very important place in our sampradaya. And because we follow because he has given us the perfect scientific Vedic literature as it is, appropriately made, easy to digest, we are called as Rupanugas. In fact, Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu, that is the nectar of devotion, is a perfect book which makes us understand how to have our devotional life, how to become a devotee, and how to achieve the perfectional stage of a devotee. So right from a Kanishta Adhikari to Madhyam Adhikari to the Uttam Adhikari stage, everything that is required is made available there. And hence, it becomes easy to follow. Similar is Prabhupada's journey. Just look at what Srila Prabhupada did. When he met his spiritual master, His Divine Grace, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada, He had gone just with his friend and he was sitting behind. He listened and he was seen to be a good listener. And immediately his Guru Maharaj told, you should go and preach about Krishna consciousness in the Western world. And he took it to his heart. That was the first meeting. And then he just kept understanding, listening. And whenever he used to get opportunity, he used to go there. And when he was finally initiated, he got the official instruction, preach Krishna consciousness in English. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur made him understand what is important through his own example, that he had created the Gaudiya ashramas, and whenever he used to get money, he used to print books. So similar quality was taken up by Srila Prabhupada, and he translated all the literature into English, and subsequently all of that was translated into so many different languages world over and become easily accessible. So he followed his Guru's footsteps, and the result is a miracle, the rising wherein hippies became happies. So the desire to inquire from the spiritual master is an essential factor to the progressive path. And this is exactly what is called as sad-dharma-pṛcchā, questioning on the right path. So Nāradajī was being asked by Vyāsadeva. In fact, not only what you did, Vyāsadeva went up further. How did you pass your life after initiation? And how did you attain this body after quitting the old body? So Vyāsadeva is a Shaktavesh avatar. It is not that he is not understanding anything. But then Vyāsadeva is giving all these questions so that we can also understand. So here, what it is directly telling us about the transmigration of the body. That just like we can change this clothing, similarly this body is changed by us after death, and we take up a new body. So Vyāsadeva wanted to understand that once he was initiated, what did he do all, because of which he got this transcendental body by which he could roam everywhere, right from material world to the spiritual world. So what all had been done? Because practically speaking, in the previous life, Nāradajī was just a maidservant son, ordinary. But today what was being seen was a perfectly transformed into a spiritual body of eternal life, bliss and knowledge. So how did transformation happen? Knowing that is very important, certainly important. And Vyāsadeva actually wanted this to be disclosed for everyone's satisfaction. And then comes the very important question. Kalaha or time, it actually annihilates everything. So here Nāradajī was talking about something which had happened in his previous birth, and that too not in this same day of Brahma, but in previous day of Brahma, previous Kalpa. So you don't know how many lifetimes may have passed in between. And generally we do not remember what happens to us in this body a couple of years ago. So if today I am asked, what did you do on 1 September 2023? No answer. And here, this memory of a previous birth was still fresh in mind of Narad Muni. And it was undisturbed by time. Krishna is the one who gives memory, and he is also one who gives forgetfulness. So what exactly may have happened because of which Krishna gave him this memory? And unlike everyone else who gets forgetfulness, why did he not get the forgetfulness? This was a very apt question. Because we all know what Krishna told Arjuna when he was asked. So, if you all remember, it comes in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, wherein Krishna clearly talks about this, that it is He who gives remembrance as well as forgetfulness. So what could have been specially done by Nāradajī that he got the remembrance? See, Krishna is situated in everyone's as Paramatma, and from there he is giving various inclinations, disinclinations. So Krishna says, Sarvasya chaham vriddhi sannivishta matta smriti dhanam apahanam cha vedehe cha sarver aham eva vedya vedanta krut veda videva cha aham. I am situated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta and I am the knower of the Vedas. So all activities get initiated from Krishna as Paramatma. And the living entity generally forgets everything in his past life. And he has to act according to the direction of Supreme Lord, who has witnessed all his activities. So based on the past dates, the living entity begins his work. That knowledge is supplied to him. Remembrance is given to him. And he forgets also about the past. So just see, Krishna is all pervading and is also localized in everyone's heart. So if this is a fact, why is it that Nāradajī did not forget? Because generally Krishna makes everyone forget. In fact, even asuras forget Krishna completely. What about their own activities? Even devotees forget. But then once they get that small prick, they remember him. So here it was very questionable, aptly questionable, that since spirit is not annihilated after annihilation of material body, the spiritual consciousness is not annihilated. So this spiritual consciousness which Nāradajī developed in the material body of previous kalpa, that consciousness of the material body is expressed again in this material body. So it is a super consciousness of the supra mind, which is as good as spirit soul. So how did he maintain it? Vyāsadeva wanted to know all these things because knowing all these things will make us more and more strong in our faith towards Krishna and ensuring that we take up to our sadhana bhakti very, very seriously to be able to go back home, back to Godhead successfully. Hare Krishna.